Hello, good morning. Today we see the book summary of TED Talks. What is the number one fear of 90% of the people in the world? Death? Ghost? Going to the dentist? No, it is not. It is public speaking. And that is so sad. Just consider how many amazing ideas are locked up in people's heads where we will never learn about them simply because they are afraid of a microphone. But did you know that many of the most TED talkers used to also be anxious about speaking, including me? After all, most speakers aren't invited because of their oratory skills but because of their mind blowing ideas. In the book TED Talks, the official TED Guide to Public Speaking by Chris Anderson, you will find all the speaking advice TED experts have assembled throughout the last 30 years. Hi guys, I am Prem Kumar Maurya. Thanks to this book, I too give three TED Talks. So let us begin with the first part of the book, TED Talks. If you can speak publicly. Imagine you are about to step onto a big stage to present an innovative project to a crowd of hundreds. This scenario probably sparks some anxiety in you. How come? Because we humans are social creatures, and when we speak in public, we put something very dear to us on the line, our reputation. We depend on one another for our survival and therefore invest a lot in being respected and supported. So it makes sense that we are anxious about expressing our views publicly, risking being disliked, ridiculed, or even worse, ignored. But don't worry, if even if your fear of rejection vastly outweighs your self-confidence, you can still speak well in public and spread your story. As an example, consider Monica Lewinsky. In 2015, she gave a TED Talk on public shaming she suffered following her affair with former President Bill Clinton. Before the talk, she was extremely nervous. She knew that millions of people would hear her speech and was terrified that she would screw up, further damaging her reputation. But in the end, the audience gave her a standing ovation and an endless stream of positive online reviews. The moral is don't let your lack of confidence hold you back from giving public speaking a shot. Just remember, while there is a lot of stake, it's a great opportunity to get your ideas out into the world. And the truth is, public speaking is a skill that anyone can learn. For example, in Kenya, a 12-year-old boy named Richard Turere invented a system to stop lions from killing his family's cattle. He had realized that the predators were afraid of moving lights and created a network of lights that switch on and off in sequence, frightening the lions away. The tool became wildly popular and he was invited to give a TED talk. At the time, Ture was shy, spoke very little broken English, and had a difficult time describing his invention logically. But even he, after just 6 months of training, was able to come to California and give an amazing speech, captivating the audience with his story and his charm. So, say you do manage to summon up the courage to give a public speech. How can you give a convincing presentation? Do you have a secret? No. No two audiences no two audiences are the same and you will never give the same talk twice. However, there are a few powerful techniques that will help you with just about every public speech. One is to One is to get personal, and here is why it is essential. First of all, humans have evolved to protect their minds from knowledge that could challenge their perceptions of the world. As a result, people are often reluctant about opening their minds to ideas presented by strangers. Say you drink loads of coffee, you simply can't get enough of the stuff. But your university biology professor is always preaching about how coffee causes cancer. Would you willingly give up coffee? Probably not. Like most people, you had be skeptical. In other words, you had do what all people do, defend your worldviews by mistrusting any information that challenged them. So, as a speaker, you have got to disarm your audience to make them receptive to your message. This is where getting personal comes in. Making eye contact and showing vulnerability can go a long way toward opening people's mind. Suppose you are a trustworthy person who was based their talk on facts. Most people will able to determine this by simply watching your eyes. So making eye contact with your audience will let them see that they can trust you. In the next part, we shall visit the trump card to win the audience. It is sure short way for standing ovation. Till then, happy reading and bye bye. Let's continue to the next part. Coming to the part second. Making yourself vulnerable is very important for creating trust. For example, say you are cowboy walking into a busy saloon. If you want to show people in the salon that you are not about to shoot the place up, you have got to make it clear that you are not armed. Upon realizing you are a friend, not a foe, they will breathe a sign of relief. The same goes for your audience. If you disarm yourself by showing that you are vulnerable, they will lay down their guards while you might be scared to show how nervous you are, for instance, by blushing. Signs like this can actually be beneficial as they demonstrate your vulnerability without any effort. Kids, keep it stupid simple. Say you are a psychologist who is about to give a TED talk on a prefrontal cortex and the experience simulator. How can you explain these complex technical ideas to a general audience? Simple. Just use the five-step approach. First, find your audience's starting point. After all, you don't know what your audience knows or care about. So it's best to begin with something that will definitely be relevant to them. Since you know they are all here for a speech, you could open up you could open with, I have 20 minutes to speak, but that is nothing compared to the 2 million years that humans have been evolving. Your next move is to speak their curiosity. You will know you have succeeded when people start asking themselves why or how. To get them to this point, you might offer them the knowledge that the size or mass of a human brain has tripled over the last 2 million years. The third step is to go over your concepts one at a time. Remember, it's never a good idea to explain everything at once. Doing so well, doing so will simply confuse your audience and eventually cause their attention to drift. So, first you should explain that the prefrontal cortex is one of the causes of this remarkable brain growth. You mentioned the brain got bigger because a whole new section was added. After that, you can introduce the second concept, the experience simulator, by saying that the prefrontal cortex is basically an experience simulator because it lets people experience things in their mind before they actually occur. The next move is to deploy some metaphors. Metaphors are helpful since they use images and models that people already know and therefore easily relate it. For instance, you could explain that the experience simulator is a bit like flight simulator that lets people practice avoiding mistakes in the real world. The fifth and final step is to use examples to make your speech vivid and memorable. You could say that Baskin Robbins doesn't make an onion mustard flavor ice cream because, thanks to their experience simulating prefrontal cortex, they already know it wouldn't sell. So, those are basics for delivering a speech on a complex topic. Use wow images. Thanks to modern technology, we have the option to dress up our words with attractive videos, photos, or graphs. But not all talks benefit from visuals. That is because the goal of your talk is to form a connection with your audience that makes them trust you and open up to your ideas. Using visuals might disrupt your connection. So, if your talk is on a highly personal subject, you probably don't want to distract your audience with slides. But many talks do benefit from some visual aids as long they are strong ones that reveal, explain, and appeal to your audience. After all, images are secondary to words and should always reveal something that words alone can't. An obvious example is the use of slides. If you are an artist, but visuals can just as easily be used to shed light on the work of scientists or explorers. Once you are sure that your slides will reveal something valuable, it's important to check that they also illustrate exactly the concept you are describing and nothing else. Say you are speaking about colors and their symbolism in the paintings of M.F. Hussein. If you are explaining his use of zinc yellow, make sure that slides only show that color and not another like Naples yellow or carmine. Otherwise, you will raise confusing audience. Stick to one idea per image. Finally, make sure your visuals are aesthetically appealing to your audience, and if so, don't scare to use a lot of them, especially if you are an artist. You can delight your audience with beautiful images. You may not even need to explain each one or spend much time on it. Is using a script good for our TED talk? At least not for me. I never use a script in my public talks, but the TED experts had a very strange experience with the speakers. Let us find us in the next part. Till then, happy reading and bye bye. Yes, coming to the third part, script or no script. Not everyone prepares for talk in the same way. Some people may benefit from creating a precise script in advance, whereas others succeed when giving unscripted speeches like me. Let's start by examining the benefits of preparing a script. First, a script ensures that you can fit everything you wish to say into the given time frame. It also helps you structure your thoughts because you are forced to prepare a clear roadmap for what to explain and in what order. Scripts also enable you to analyze. Scripts also enable you to analyze if there are easier, more compelling ways to explain your ideas. And finally, scripting also helps you identify and cut out any unnecessary material. However, there are also good reasons to give an unscripted talk. Your audience will unusually be able to tell if your talk is memorized because you just won't sound as natural as you normally do. Speaking spontaneously will give your talk a more fresh and vivid tone. So, if you are familiar with your topic, losing the roadmap might be a good idea. In the end, both options have their strengths, and it's really just about finding the method that makes you feel most comfortable and confident. At Tech, at TED, they used to have just two rules: no podium and no scripted talks. That is until they learn that the best way to give a talk is the one that makes speaker comfortable. If someone tries to use a style that is unnatural to them, they will probably do poorly. Ted discovered this in 2010 when Nobel laureate Daniel Kahneman was invited to give a talk. Despite being a veteran speaker, during rehearsals he kept pausing, struggling to remember what he was going to say. As a result, Ted allowed Kahneman to use his notes and he delivered a brilliant presentation. Channel your adrenaline. Adrenaline probably surges through your veins at the mere thoughts of talking on the stage. That's good, but not only to a certain extent. If you live in the jungle in constant fear of predators, adrenaline is your best friend. That is because it gives you the strength you need to fight or flee. On stage 2, adrenaline can help you by spurring you to do that best. But if you get too much of it and can't burn it off through physical activity, adrenaline will accumulate in your body, causing you to twitch and shake. If this happens, there are plenty of ways to deal with the fear and nerves. First, remember that fear serves a function and you should use it to your advantage. Just think of your fear as do motivation to practice your talks. Thinking of it this way will boost your confidence and eventually help you lose your fear. Another easy strategy is to drink water. When adrenaline surges through your body, you might start to feel dehydrated. As a result, your mouth will get dry and you will have a hard time speaking properly. So, stay hydrated. And finally, try to spot friendly face or two in the audience. This simple action will help to calm you down because those people will start to feel connected to you. Feeling this will excite them and in turn feed your confidence as well as calmness. Next is avoid monotone. When giving a talk, make sure to vary your voice. Your goal is giving a talk is probably not to lull your audience to sleep, but that is exactly what you will do if you don't pay attention to the way you talk. For instance, you have likely fallen victim to a super boring lecturer with a monotone. To avoid doing this to your audience, vary the way you speak. It's as simple as using tools like volume, tone, or timbre to, your, to give your speech greater range and meaning. And to conclude, there is no one solution to excellent public speaking, but there are tools that every person can use to improve their performance. The essentials of these art are to connect with your audience, harness your anxiety, and do what is comfortable for you. With this, we come to the end of the book TED Talk. See you in the next part. Till then, happy happy reading and happy talking to a crowd of 100. Bye bye. Thank you.